Hi, Professor Rujo Moreno with some notes on Objective 2 in Chapter 6, all about credit cards. So some of you might already have a credit card, but basically most credit cards you apply at your bank. Usually it's for a Visa, MasterCard type of credit card. Basically, if you are approved at this, you get what's called the line of credit. So it's actually called a revolving line of credit because it can be used over and over again. So you can borrow on it, pay some back, borrow some more, pay it back, borrow some more, pay it back. That's called a revolving line of credit. And that's basically what credit cards represent. They are wonderfully convenient to buy things. The purchases are they're accepted almost everywhere, and so you can use them for purchases. That's good, and it's also not so good because there's a tendency to overspend if you could just buy stuff on a credit card. One other thing that they do have is this feature called a cash advance. Cash advance basically can use it or part of the credit line for borrowing cash, but between the fees they charge and the interest rates, which are much higher than the credit card rate, it's really not, it's probably the most expensive way of grabbing cash, you know. Again, the interest rate is going to depend on credit score, which we're going to be talking about in this chapter as well. Um, but interest rates have been much higher. They're in somewhere in the mid-teens, 15, 16, 17%. And basically speaking, they could run all the way up to past 30%. They could run as low as 9 or 10 or 11%, depending on your credit worthiness, your trustworthiness, which they measure in terms of a credit score. And so just know interest is the price of borrowing money. Everything has a price. You go to the store, you can see a price tag on various things. The price tags of any loan is the interest rate they charge. That's the cost of borrowing. And so you want to be sure that if you're going to take a loan, you want to have, even a credit card, you want to have the lowest cost of borrowing. So whoever's going to give you the best interest rate is definitely going to keep that cost down for you when you do need to borrow money. Lots of other fees that are involved. You really need to learn about those fees because credit cards are riddled with all types of things in the contract, okay, which you're going to be reading about. There are some special types of credit cards, such as reward cards. So every time you use them, you get some type of reward, whether that's, airline miles or cash back or gift certificates to various places to shop. Those are all called reward cards. There are also something called an affinity card, which basically is a card that is issued in conjunction with a group. So you could have one from, the Wildlife Fund or Special Olympics, and that would be on your card. And that's basically what we call an affinity card. If there's any hockey fans out there, the NHL has that with Discover. You can put your favorite NHL hockey team right on your Discover card. That's what an affinity card is like. There are things called secured cards, which basically means you need to put a deposit down, and your line of credit on the credit card will be the deposit you put down. So you're basically securing the loan. Okay. And this is a nice way, really, for a lot of people who've never ever had credit to start. So you put $500 in the bank, your local bank or credit union, and you apply for a card with them using that savings account as the security. And so it's a nice way to get started if you have never had credit before. Okay. So that's something to look at. They also have a lot of student credit cards, student programs. Again, just watch out because they might give you a special rate as a student, but as soon as you're no longer a student, that rate might, in some cases, go up almost double. So just be careful. Read the fine print. That's all I can say. Retail charge cards, are very popular. You can get a card at the local Shell station or mobile Exxon stations. You can get a card at favorite department stores, whether that's Macy's, H&M, whatever. Best Buy has their cards. Retail charge cards are pretty popular and available. They come with very, very high interest rates, but they do help build loyalty to the brand, to the store. Debit cards are not credit cards. Credit is a loan. The debit card simply is a way to write a check without writing a check. So when you use your debit card, the money is being automatically deducted from your checking account and being used, just like you wrote a check, but instead you're just using a card. So a debit card is not a loan, it's coming right out of your account, whereas a credit card is a loan. They are giving you a loan, you have to pay it back with interest. So just know that as well. There are also other what we call revolving credit lines. The biggest ones are personal loans. That could be in the form of an overdraft protection line. There's personal lines of credit, or you can use your house as a collateral of sorts for a home equity credit line. But again, probably not the best way of using the equity in your home, but it is an option.